Fasting can actually lengthen your lives.
Why is it that triglycerides are dropping, growth hormone is going up, testosterone is going up, blood sugar is going down by this fasting?
All these processes that we are initiating now with fasting don't get initiated at all for all our lives.
So the feel good that you get out of it is also almost medical.
Willpower is tested for sure. We get an immune reset, we get a gut reset, our growth hormone goes up. So when you fast for 7 days, you are actually killing the cancer cells first, but the body is ready for that.
So my friend Jay, Dr. Jandeep and I have been on our fasting streak for the last few months और बहुत कुछ कर चुके हैं and I'm very excited today because we are taking this fasting to the next level. And I'm here with Jay to talk about it and explain in detail कि हमने क्या experience किया है in the last few months, physically, medically, spiritually, emotionally, and how are we taking it to the next level. So Jay, thank you so much
Hi.
for coming back.
Yeah.
And so let's, I think, start with what we've done. So basically, in the last few months, we've been doing a 24-hour once a week approximately. है ना, कभी-कभी miss हो गया है, but largely we've done once a week, 24 hours. We have done a few 3-day water fasts. And what I want to discuss with you and really get your perspective on is that let's start with the medical part. कि जो हमने medical tests you had subscribed and prescribed and we had done them, तो उसमें क्या नजर आया है? What is the up and down? क्या फायदा हुआ है? क्या नुकसान हुआ है of the fasting, especially the 3-day fast?
Yeah. So what we did last time was, by the time we had tried a 1-day fast a couple of times. So since our last meeting, we have done 2 3-day fasts. And one is the available data and one is when you do it on yourselves. So we actually tried it on ourselves and did a few basic blood tests. So a few things that we noticed, which was almost the same for all of us, that our sugars went down to below normal levels and still we were feeling fine and we were happier than we were 3 days back. So those are 2 main things. For the blood test, like if you remember, I had a triglyceride which was above the normal range. That came down almost to the lower normal range, which was quite a revelation for me. Our growth hormones went up, our testosterone levels went up. So it was all documented and from the same lab we got it done in a similar process. So all those tests were very heartening to know that whatever we read about what fasting does to you and the basis for that all came true. And that was very exciting. And also knowing what has gone inside the body and how we have actually probably lengthened our lives by probably decreased just those 3 days fast we did.
You think so?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Just by that 3-day fast, we have lengthened our life?
Oh yes. We have lengthened our lives. The probability of getting cancer is slightly less than it was before.
Sure.
And there are enough studies now available. I mean, it's tough to believe them. I mean, it's such a radical new science developing that fasting can actually lengthen your lives. But as we, realize that now, the whole world is realizing this now, we wonder that why so few people do this,
And these studies that are available, they are not voodoo. They are not people just coming up with ideas. These are actual studies.
These are scientific studies.
Okay.
These are scientific studies of what goes on in the body. And it is so exciting, actually, to know all that. It is so exciting.
And whatever the medical reports have shown us in those tests that we've done every time we've done the fast, so you're saying triglycerides, blood sugar, growth hormone, testosterone. So some of them have gone down, some of them have gone up, but they have all moved in the right direction.
They've all moved in the right direction.
Medically?
Medically. So what we could do with our, not as much of on a microscopic level, we can't do those tests here. We just did the routine ones. But if you read and believe whatever studies are there, of course, we should. The benefits are far many more than the blood tests show us actually on a microscopic level.
Yeah. And so why does it happen? Why is it that triglycerides are dropping, growth hormone is going up, testosterone is going up, blood sugar is going down by this fasting?
So the major reason is when you're not eating anything at all. So the one hormone that controls sugar, for example, is insulin. So your insulin hormone is not being released, you're not eating sugars at all. You're not eating anything, in fact. So when that is not being released by the body, so what insulin does is it takes up the extra carbohydrate in the body and stores it as fat. That is this is the main hormone that does it. because you're not eating anything. So all the work that it was supposed to do, it doesn't have to do it, and it's not being released at all. So that leads to this beautiful situation where instead of storing it as fat, fat starts getting used as energy, because that is like the backup energy stored in the form of fat for a rainy day. And when that starts happening, so there's something called ketone bodies, which actually what happens is the fats start breaking down, because the body does need energy, and every cell does need glucose. So initially when we start fasting, this is very important to understand. When we start fasting, we use up the glucose in the body. Then the glycogen stores come up in about 10-12 hours, they also finish. And then we need to generate new glucose to feed the body by a process called gluconeogenesis. Some proteins start getting converted. Besides that, what starts happening is that the fats start breaking down to triglycerides and fatty acids. Fatty acids are taken up by the liver and broken down into ketone bodies. That is called ketosis. So ketosis is a process by which it's a second source of energy to the body. And all the cells love this clean energy. So when ketosis starts happening, generally about the second day of fasting, so it does a lot of beautiful things. It turns off hunger, and the brain loves it too. So an ideal situation for brain is, it has become a norm now to eat so many times a day. It was never the norm. So that is why, the fasting, now that we are doing the deliberate fasting, it used to be a natural process in the past. Imagine when we had our ancestors and beyond that, when evolution happened about so many, millions of years back, a couple of million years back probably. So our ancestors, they were hunters and gatherers. So they would probably find food once a day and would eat probably once a day.
Yeah.
And the rest of the time would be a rest phase of the body when all these processes were natural. What happened in the last few thousand years is that we started eating more than once a day. Now we eat maybe 6 times a day. And the body doesn't know how to tackle it. All these processes that we are initiating now with fasting don't get initiated at all for all our lives. When we know now through science that, last time we talked about it, there's so many beautiful things that happen. One is the clean energy that comes in. We get an immune reset. We get a gut reset. Our growth hormone goes up. So many good things happen when you are in a fasted state. Your brain, they didn't know this before, it's a very recent thing. So there's something called a brain-derived neurotropic factor that starts getting released in a fasting state by the second, third day. And that actually helps us build new brain cells. And this is nature's way of telling our hunter and gatherer ancestors that in spite of no food coming in, you need to be at the peak of your mental abilities to go out and hunt. So in short, what I'm telling you is that we haven't even, another thing that happens, very important with along of this is the gene expression changes, which was, it means that our genes in a fasted state, again, it's the beauty of nature. So the genes behave in such a way so that more proteins are made. It creates spaces. Only about 10% of our genes actually are expressed normally.
Okay.
Or maybe less than that also. I'm not very sure about the figure, but when we are in a fasted state, those expressions change. It is the gene's problem of what protein to make. And it goes about it. It's nature's way of making those proteins or those buildups or creates those, chemicals for us. So the genes express in a slightly different way. And this is the only way to make them do that. So, it's a gamut of a large number of things that are very radical, are very beautiful. And for example, the growth hormone is the hormone that keeps us young. So yeah, so that is why I said we probably lengthened our lives. Is that when more growth hormone is secreted, it makes new muscle. Another huge thing that happens in fasting, in 3 days fasting, that the ones we tried, is autophagy. So this is again a beautiful process which only gets kindled on the second day of fasting. I mean, we wouldn't even, ignite it even once in our whole lifetimes if we don't fast. So what this does is actually,
Yeah, what is autophagy?
yeah, autophagy is basically that the cells over many years, when we've lived, collects a lot of debris
Okay.
in itself, which is the bad stuff that is never going to be used. And it's like, it's garbage. So when autophagy, when we are not giving our body food, by the second day, the body is desperately trying to look for food wherever it is. So it is nature's way of creating this process in the body where the cells start cleaning themselves up. There is a thing called mTOR. It's a chemical which actually, when it lowers, um, proteins are not being made, and that is like a red signal for the body to do something to get those building materials, because it's a very intense metabolism that is happening in a body, even in a fasted state or any state actually, where you absolutely need those proteins to be made. So where does it get them from? It gets them from the debris in cells, which means our mitochondria, our lysosomes, and a lot of things in the cell start, joining hands and creating an environment where that debris is collected, expelled from the cell, and those debris materials, phosphates and other things and proteins, are used up as building materials for our cells. So it's like you're actually looking into the garbage box and sees, if there is something available for the body to take care of itself. So a lot of good things happen.
So you're reusing the garbage.
You're reusing the garbage, which actually what happens to which what it does to the cells is, when you then stop fasting after 3 days, the cells are happy, they're clean, they want to relive now or rejuvenate themselves with new vigor. So that is what autophagy does. So there's a lot of benefits.
So phenomenal. So I've been feeling very good about it. I know you've been feeling very good
Yeah,
about it.
and the feeling good part is the mental fog.
Okay.
I mentioned this in the last podcast also.
yeah.
Socrates used to fast. He didn't know why he was fasting, but he said he felt better mental clarity. It's a big thing in the Silicon Valley nowadays to go into, a startup meet or a conference, absolutely not eating for the last 2-3 days, because it clears up mental fog. And we know now why. We are using ketosis as the fuel.
So the feel good that you get out of it is also almost medical,
Oh, it is medical.
scientific.
Yeah, it is scientific.
It is not just
Yeah.
creation of.
And we experienced it.
Yeah.
We were super happy on the third day. We were not hungry. We got hungry on the second day till the maximum amount of ketosis started. It did shut our hunger off. Hunger is caused by a hormone called ghrelin. So it does shut hunger off on the second and the third day. You stop feeling hungry. And in fact, had we extended it to the fourth, fifth day, what I've been reading about it is you actually start feeling happy and don't want to eat.
Is it?
Yeah. So it's very easy after 3 days. A lot of people are going for a 5-day fast and 7-day fast now.
Yeah. So should we do a 4-day
Absolutely.
next?
We should actually get our friends together and do a 3-day first.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
So I think it's important to share with everybody that we have planned a retreat. We are doing a fasting retreat. It's a 5-day retreat, and it's only for our family and friends, and we've got enough people who have signed up for it. And this is going to happen in Himachal. And it's a 5-day retreat where on the first day, and he can give you more insights, but on the first day we will help people get ready for it. We've already told these people what blood tests to do in advance, what precautions to take, what kind of food to eat in the run up to the retreat. And then on the first day, we are going to do a blood test. We are going to check them up. We'll gently ease them into the fast because some of them have not been on this journey.
Yeah.
So we'll gently ease them into the fast and we'll do all the tests on the first day itself just to make sure everybody's okay. Though in my mind, those tests are more to give them comfort.
Yeah.
Because we already have their blood test report. We know that they are all okay and there is no risk at all actually in doing this. But still, we will start with a test on the first day.
Yeah.
And then we will start the fast. And then every morning we will do a checkup. And to take the benefits beyond just the medical, physical reports section. So the fasting that we've done till now, 3-day fast, has been largely just blood test before and blood test after. But what we are going to do now is make it more holistic in this retreat for ourselves also, for our friends also. And for that, you had recommended we add some meditation. So every day we will do some meditation. Every day we will do some yoga. What else do you think we should be doing in this retreat?
The people we've selected are all physically fit. We made sure that none of them is a diabetic, most
Correct.
important.
Correct.
Because if you are a diabetic, you definitely need to do this under medical supervision. So all of them are physically fit. The first question is, I mean, 3 days without food sounds very, difficult to do. But the truth is that even if we don't eat for 40 days, we're going to live. Which is, the realization of that and knowing that is enough that you can do a 3-day retreat. It's all about your willpower. So willpower is tested for sure. But the reason why we want to do it together with the friends and family is that, when you're in a group of people, it's easier. You can share your, wisdom and your fallacies.
Yeah.
So probably that will be we think it's our first time we are doing this. While we prepare for that, we made sure that we've asked our friends and family to quit added sugar. We asked them to already start eating a low carb diet because sugar, as we
Yes.
all know, is highly addictive. And the withdrawal of sugar is actually like a withdrawal of cocaine. It is a very difficult thing to do. So we already asked them to, not have added sugars, decrease their refined carbohydrate intake, which means all the atta, chawal, all the rice and wheat flour, pastas and everything. So those things will help. And we've asked them also to to skip one meal,
Yeah.
preferably breakfast.
Yeah.
Because breakfast actually is the least important meal
Yeah.
of the day. And they can have their lunch, they can have their dinner, eat less. But yeah,
We've asked them to try and give up sodas and
sodas, absolutely,
then alcohol.
absolutely. Even the low sugar Cokes or Coke
Yeah,
Zero and
yeah,
all those
yeah.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, so we've asked them to give up that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think this is again advice for people who want to try this. One, as long as you're not diabetic, be careful of that. But if you're not diabetic, you could try it on your own. You could start with a 24-hour or even less, but then you could move to a 2-day, 3-day fast. It is recommended you do it in a group. At least you have somebody doing it with you, because our experience has been every time we've done it together, it was far easier. But like River was doing it alone and he found it more difficult.
Yeah.
But when you do it together, it's easier. So let's get a group together. So what we are trying to do is spread the knowledge, the benefits, and get more people to experience the benefit so they can start doing it on their own. But if you can do it together, it's useful. And everything he's sharing, you should try that, which is give up sodas and cokes, try and reduce or give up sugar.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we are doing, which again you can try if you want to do it at home, is when you're doing fasting, try and do some meditation, try and do some yoga. The benefits are a lot more.
Yeah.
Don't do aggressive exercise with it, right? We are saying that.
Yeah.
You will overall feel happy, but you might not feel super high energy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? That is there. But when you are feeling hungry, don't worry, because it is not like your stomach is empty and you need to put food in it. Your body is basically asking for sugar.
Yeah.
Because you become sugar junkies.
Yeah.
Is what I've learned.
Very true. Yeah.
Right? So your body is asking for sugar. And that hunger pang, as I have experienced, comes for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You're able to overcome it, then it is gone.
Then it's gone. Yeah.
And by the third day, like you said, we were on a high. We were
Yeah.
feeling very good and very
Yeah.
energetic, and we
Yeah.
could have easily done the fourth day.
Yeah.
And maybe at some stage we will try the fourth day. So this is going to happen in Himachal. It'll be a 5-day retreat. We are packed. We don't have any more place for people, but this is anyways for friends and family. And based on this, we will decide. We might do for more people later. So if you're interested, do comment below. And it's going to happen in a place which is by the river, a scenic place which is almost meant for these kind of things. Every day, meditation, yoga, some other artwork.
Yeah.
That's the kind of work that we are going to do. We'll do some book reading. We'll have a session on the science of fasting. We basically want these people to learn more about it and go back and educate their family members, their friends.
That's going to be a big takeaway from this. Yes.
Yeah. One of my big questions is, you've been sending videos and articles and books to me, and I've been reading them. Clearly, there is enough science and studies which are showing how important, valuable, and beneficial fasting is.
Yeah.
Then
Absolutely.
why is it not more prevalent? Why are more people not doing it?
I'm amazed too. I'm surprised, amazed. But probably the biggest reason is that because nobody earns money out of it, I mean, who would earn money if you're fasting, So it's a huge food industry who's trying to sell you stupid cereals in the morning and, probably decreasing your lives actually. So sugar, for example, is a poison. Sugar was never supposed to be. Can you imagine a world without sugar? So nobody will tell you this because nobody will promote this. So
So
I
it's
think that is the
almost
biggest reason.
so it's
The food
almost
industry,
like
the mafia of the food industry.
alcohol,
Oh, it's exactly like,
tobacco, junk
absolutely,
food,
absolutely.
burgers, pizzas, they're all unhealthy.
But see, the funny thing is, at least in alcohol, till you're 21 years old, you're not sold alcohol. But a kid can eat as many gummies or
Pizzas or
pizzas or
burgers or
burgers or whatever,
junk food, French
junk food,
fries.
anything, all sugars of all kinds. So imagine a world where kids are not allowed to buy sugar till they are 18 years old. It sounds so interesting, no?
Hmm.
So,
They will become much healthier.
oh, 100%. So if you see the a city kid nowadays, is actually most of them are suffering from something called metabolic syndrome. So
Oh,
if you test them, they're obese. They have, a lot of fat around their belly. If you test their hormones and their chemicals, they are hormonally modified individuals. If you test a kid, I mean, imagine a kid 100 years back, even 100 years, and now the present kid, a city kid, would be entirely metabolically different than a kid of that time, all because of his diet, all because of the multiple meals he's having during the day. Earlier days, when kids would ask for an extra meal, they would say, "You'll spoil your dinner. Don't eat." But nowadays, it's snacking is a norm. So it's the frequency of food has gone up, eating food, even if the calories are same. So that has actually led to a lot of metabolic disturbances among
so with
kids.
all this thing that these kids are doing in today's environment, it is going to lead to a big problem
Oh, it's an epidemic already. Yeah.
10, 20 years from now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is already, a big problem.
So at least on the cigarette packet, they are saying injurious for health.
Yeah.
On alcohol, they are saying you can't sell before this age.
It will happen on sugar packets too.
You think so?
100%.
I hope so.
I mean, there's enough evidence to actually start doing it.
Yeah, but going back to my point, the consumption of food or not advising people to fast is can be in some ways related to alcohol, smoking, tobacco, junk food, where companies are promoting it, governments are not stopping it worldwide.
Absolutely.
It's not just in India or US or Europe, but it's everywhere.
Absolutely. So the two major things that are the big, problems. One is sugar, of course. Sugar is not natural. Sugar is man-made, and our bodies have evolved in certain ways where they don't know what to do with sugar. So sugar doesn't get metabolized the way whole foods are metabolized in the body, and it creates all the fat. It creates all the problems actually are mostly because of sugar and a few other things.
Though I must admit that the videos we made till now, we've done a couple of videos on fasting, we've done some video on sugar, why you should give up sugar. The comments have been phenomenal. A lot of people have started trying to give up sugar. People have started trying out fasting and these kind of things. So I think health wave is
Yeah.
coming, but perhaps the junk food wave and
Yeah.
overeating waves are stronger even today.
Absolutely. I mean, they're trying to sell, and they are huge. I mean, they are fantastic marketers. Imagine all these big food companies with their
Yeah, what
marketing
people
agents.
like you and I are competing against is the KFCs and McDonald's
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
Johnny Walkers of the world. And we
Absolutely.
are no competition. We are
Yeah. The
nobody.
other big difference besides sugar, actually, I need to mention this is the fiber content in our food.
Okay.
So that has gone down, and this is another huge reason why we are the way we are. I mean, who eats? I mean, it's until unless the parents are super conscious. A kid won't pick up wouldn't want broccoli. So processed foods and sugars, processed foods with the additives and taking out all the fiber, refined flour, all these things, actually are adding up to create all this problem.
So let's see. I mean, we will continue on this track of fasting, no sugar.
Mhm.
We are already on a 3 day. So to repeat 24 hours once a day, 3 day once a month, or sometimes once in 45 days.
Yeah, and as a routine lifestyle, intermittent fasting is
Yeah,
definitely
we are
a
doing
choice.
that too.
Yeah.
And do you think we should, after this, maybe in a couple of months, go on to a 4 day and then a 5 day? And
Absolutely.
like the 7 day thing excites me. What you explained to me, and I saw in a video also. by this doctor in the US who's talking about how a 7 day fasting helps you reduce your a huge probability of getting cancer
Yes.
in your
And
life.
when you try and understand this, it becomes very exciting. Cancer is caused by cells which are misbehaving in the body. And they're
Okay.
not healthy cells. They are those, the black sheep cells, a few of them, senescent cells. And when we fast, these are the first to die because they're not actually, the body doesn't want them, nature doesn't want them. So the incidence of cancer has gone up over the years. The reason is, I mean, there's some tribes still in Africa and other places where there is no cancer. There's very little, negligible cancer. So why they are there and why they, cause cancer is because they, we are not creating that fasted state for them to die because of lack of nutrition. You see? So when you fast for 7 days, you are actually killing the cancer cells first. I mean, the whole body is suffering after, not getting food, but the body is ready for that. Like I said, you can live for 40 days without food. It's been done multiple times. 40 days without food with absolutely no problems. I mean, you might lack some minerals and all those things which can be added up if you're under medical supervision. But all in all, it has its massive benefits so that the bad cells in the body actually are dying and the body is recycling itself to make sure that it stays healthier than it is. So, cancer, the probability of, there are many studies now. In fact, while you're taking chemotherapy, there are some chemotherapies where you are fasted for 3 days and then given chemotherapy so that you take it better. A lot of such things are happening in the world now.
So we will do our retreat.
Yes.
I'm excited about it. In June, we are doing our retreat in Himachal by the riverside. We'll start with meditation, do some yoga, session on the science of fasting. We will watch a movie every day. Do
We'll
some
keep
book
ourselves
reading,
distracted from hunger.
keep ourselves
That is the
distracted
idea.
from hunger.
Yeah.
And like in our fast when we did together, we will have a buffet of a variety of water.
Yes.
Right? So we will have warm water, cold water, ice cubes, lukewarm water, alkaline water, minerals in water. And Himachal, anyways, has very good water.
Yeah.
Right? We'll have pure spring water.
Yeah.
And instead of treating your tongue, you treat your cells.
Yeah.
Right? So normally when we are eating, we're just treating our tongue.
Yeah.
And 2 minute ka pleasure we are giving to our tongue.
Yeah.
But this time we are going to treat our cells.
Yeah.
And give them the benefit for life.
We're going to entertain ourselves with everything but what? But food.
Yeah. And normally we are just using food
to entertain ourselves. Yeah. That's
So
going to be this retreat. Yeah.
And it's going to be not just exciting, but also medically beneficial.
Absolutely.
And we will explain to all these friends who are coming about how their bodies are so much better.
Yeah.
At the end
Absolutely.
of the fast. But we'd love to know what people think about it. And if you've done a 3 day fast, if you've done a longer fast, if you'd like to participate in these kind of retreats, do let us know.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much. And
Thank
we
you.
will stay on this journey together.
Sure. We will.
All right.